This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
Oil prices were little changed on Wednesday in a market caught between expectations supply cuts by the world's biggest fuel exporters will drive prices higher and concerns global economic weakness will sap demand. Brent futures dipped 1 cent to $79.39 a barrel by 10:39 GMT, and U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude edged 8 cents higher to $74.91 a barrel. Fundamentally, we should reach a supply deficit situation in the third quarter, but whether that is trumped by recession concerns and cautious sentiment around rate hikes remains to be seen, DBS Bank's lead energy analyst Suvro Sarkar said.
Prices for sour crude oil have climbed globally this month after top exporter Saudi Arabia hiked prices and expanded production cuts of higher sulfur oil in the first sign its efforts to prop up global prices is having an impact. The de facto leader of the OPEC this month deepened its production cuts to 1 million barrels per day in response to benchmark prices that fell to below $72 a barrel this summer. The kingdom's curbs have had an outsized impact on the supply of medium and heavy sour barrels, Mark Rossano, a partner at energy data provider Primary Vision Network, said.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
Iraq will begin trading crude oil for Iranian gas to end the recurring issue of payment delays to Tehran due to the need for U.S. approval, Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammad Shia Soudani said on Tuesday. Soudani said Iran had cut gas exports to Iraq by more than 50% as of July 1 after Baghdad failed to secure U.S. approval to disperse owed funds, but Tehran had now agreed to resume gas exports in exchange for crude oil. The deal was reached during talks with an Iranian delegation that was in Baghdad since Saturday, Soudani said in a televised speech.
The U.S. Energy Information Administration, EIA, cut its forecast for 2023 U.S. crude oil production by 50,000 barrels per day after the OPEC and allies extended output cuts through 2024. Crude oil production is expected to rise 670,000 barrels per day, BPD, to 12.56 million barrels of oil per day this year, less than a prior forecast calling for a gain of 720,000 barrels of oil per day, the EIA said on Tuesday in its short-term energy outlook. The production cuts by OPEC Plus were expected to lower global oil inventories in each of the next 5 quarters and boost global oil prices in late 2023 and early 2024, the EIA said previously. Next, we have the top news in metal markets. Gold prices were firmer near 3-week highs on Wednesday as investors held their breath ahead of the much-anticipated U.S. inflation data that could drive the Federal Reserve's upcoming interest rate decisions. Spot gold gained 0.1% to $1,934.07 per ounce by 10:23 GMT, while U.S. gold futures added 0.1% to $1,939.40. Prices touched their highest since June 20 earlier in the session as the dollar index slid to its weakest level in 2 months, making bullion cheaper for overseas buyers.
China's June copper cathode output jumped 14% from a year ago, while refined tin output surged 22% year-on-year, state-backed research house Anti-K said on Wednesday. Production at 22 smelters surveyed by Anti-K, accounting for 82% of China's copper capacity with a total capacity of 11.18 million tons, was at 860,800 tons last month, Anti-K said. Chinese copper producers have seen higher production this year thanks to the lifting of COVID-19 restrictions and new projects coming online.
We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector.
Brazil's Center-South sugar production rose 7.6% in the second half of June from a year earlier, totaling 2.7 million metric tons, according to data on Tuesday from industry group Unica that was short of estimates. A survey with analysts published by S&P Global Commodity Insights had forecast sugar production at 2.88 million tons for that period. Unica said 43 million metric tons of sugarcane were crushed in the period, up 2.2% from a year ago, while ethanol production totaled 1.91 billion litres, a 5.6% drop. That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.